What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I got a couple things that I want to talk to you about today. A couple quick things, just some important Dolphins news that I want to get out to you. A little bit of NFL sort of related news as well, which we will start there. It does relate to the Dolphins, though, so we'll start there. The NFL has decided that with the current pandemic that is continuing to spread and ravage through this country and other countries, etc., they have decided to cancel all international games. So there will no longer be games played in London, one of which was going to be a Dolphins home game this year. So I guess we can take joy in the fact that we will be having that game home again if there's a season, right? So obviously those games are canceled because of the pandemic, and already, the NFL, I mean, all other sports are completely shut down, but the NFL is unique because it still has a few months before the season actually starts, and so they've been doing things virtually. Apparently virtual whatever it is, OTAs or whatever they're doing right now is working. Their off season, their little conditioning program, whatever the fuck it is they're doing, not conditioning. It's they're doing like virtual workouts and like virtual classroom. Anyway, whatever. That's working for now, and so on and so forth. But eventually they are going to have to do, in-person workouts, and things are going to get a lot trickier when that time comes. And then of course, once the season arrives, it'll be a lot more difficult to, coordinate all that. Because as we said, and as we've talked about, if this thing is still raging in the next few months, which as I've been following the numbers very closely, I certainly expect them to, especially considering, we've gone through it. States are open, and this thing is just free to fucking spread. So, and we have incompetent, greedy leadership that doesn't care about the lives of the average folks. So they just, stock portfolios, all they care about. Anyway, that leads into the next thing though, because there have also been some reports about how like Tom Garfinkel put out some statements or whatever discussing how the Dolphins will plan to open up Hard Rock Stadium to fans when the season is ready to go. And so apparently, now look, you guys know how I feel. I think it's incredibly stupid because even without the fans, you still have 32 NFL teams, and even without the international games, even if you take those out, now they still are apparently floating all kinds of different possibilities. Play games on Saturdays, shorten the season, maybe play everybody in a single location, I guess, which would be super logistically hard, I would think, but okay. But even still, right? So the base premise here, though, is that, or the base issue, though, is that even with those 32 teams, as it stands right now, and theoretically, they would have to travel around the country. You got camera crews, you got referees, you got all these people that are going to be, players, coaching staffs. You got all these people that are going to be moving around the country, going to different states, blah, 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 and could, possibly spread it. But then you have fans on top of that, and that just, increases the chances and makes it worse. Now, they were talking about how the stadium can hold 65,000 people, and they've figured out some ways to keep, social distancing guidelines in check and in order. But that's not possible, dude. How the fuck? Okay, so let me tell you what they, before I go ahead and get into my critique of it, let me go ahead and tell you exactly what it is that they want to do. So they talked about, okay, 65,000, so we're going to drop it down to 15,000 people. So we're going to cut 50,000 people out, right? From 65 down to 15, right? So that's the vast majority of, it's about a fifth, roughly, a little less than of the overall capacity. So that's pretty substantial. Okay. And theoretically, just from that perspective, you can be like, okay, well, sure, they could sit, you know, if the stadium is that empty, then absolutely people could sit 6 feet apart. Okay, sure. Then they say, well, you know, we're going to do similar to like how churches do sometimes or whatever, where they'll file people out 1 row at a time, or whatever. You know, I guess in this case, like maybe 1 section at a time of the stadium or whatever. And then, you know, so that way people aren't just, you know, bull rushing the exits, etc., etc., etc. And they have like little things, you know, that they plan to do coming in and out. But dude, like seriously, what? So like, what are you gonna do about when people have to go to the fucking bathroom? What about the concession stands, right? Are you not going to have concessions at all? Because I guarantee people are not going to like that. You're not going to be able to have people go to the stadium for fucking 3-4 hours with no concessions, whatever. No water, no food, no fucking, you know, beer, whatever the fuck it is, right? So you're going to have concession stands that you got to deal with. What if people are just assholes? What if they're jackasses? What if they don't believe in social distancing? What if they think that coronavirus is a fucking hoax because they believe the stupid fucking orange clown that said it was a fucking hoax? Okay, so, right, like, I mean, it's super complicated, and it's way too much of a risk. So I think it's stupid. I think them even really attempting it is fucking stupid, or even coming up with plans for it is stupid at this point. I mean, look, I've said this before, and it was mostly pertaining to like the draft, and the earlier stuff, and the, like, you know, the virtual classroom stuff that they're doing right now. It mostly pertains to that. But look, man, I said before, you know, I get that the NFL is still months away from actually opening the season, right? And so I get it. They still are a business, and this whole thing is hurting, blah, 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 even though they are fabulously wealthy and could probably go for years without ever, you know, probably decades without ever hitting the bottom of their coffers. But, you know, I get it, right? They still want to, you know, go about business as normal as possible. But I also said that that's very much up to a certain point, right? Like, it's totally, and I said, look, when it came to the draft, they totally should do it, right? There's absolutely no reason why they can't set it up so it's 100% digital, virtual, and so that there's absolutely no possible chance of, you know, spread, right? Because literally everybody involved was at their own homes. So, you know, whatever. And then the virtual OTAs and training, or virtual, you know, classrooms, all that stuff, all well and good. But, you know, then it starts to seriously become an issue. And I've said from the beginning, I don't think that they should have fans there. Frankly, at this point, I don't even think there should be an NFL season. I want one. I'm conflicted because as a fan, I want the season, of course. But as a human being and a person who has a conscience, you know, I just don't think it's a smart idea at all. But again, and before I move on to the last thing that I wanted to talk about, it just goes to show you that literally all they care about is their fucking money. Because they will literally take until the very last second to make their decisions. They are going to push things as far, they're going to push that envelope as far as they possibly can to allow themselves all opportunities to come up with fucking weird, janky little things like, you know, we're going to limit it to 15,000, and then we're going to tell people, 15,000 people, okay, well, you know, you got to stay 6 feet apart, and, you know, fuck it if you go to the bathroom or whatever. The shit is, no, it won't work. The shit is in the air. It's highly contagious, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, before I go on ranting for too long and make this video, you know, 30 minutes, blah, 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 because I just fucking go off, let me get to the last thing that I want to talk about. I think that's enough. I think we get it at this point. This whole thing is terrible, and it's destructive, and it's blah, blah, blah. And it's just one of those things that we gotta, you know, play out as it goes. So the last thing that I wanted to discuss really quick, it's unfortunate. I mean, the last thing was unfortunate too. But I am sad to say that it's been reported widely that Don Shula has passed away as of this morning at the age of 90. Obviously, the winningest coach in NFL history, and, you know, a Dolphins legend, and the only coach to ever, you know, lead a team to an undefeated season, etc., etc., etc. So, you know, obviously condolences to the family, and, you know, but at least the good thing about it, though, is it's sad that, you know, he passes, obviously, but I mean, look, everybody dies eventually, right? And at least he died in the way that we would all hope and wish that we could die, right? Peacefully, at ease, in his own home, in his, you know, in his own bed. From what I could tell, he was certainly at his home. I don't know if he was actually laying in bed at the time, but, you know, he was in the comfort of his own home, died of natural causes from what I can see. You know, it wasn't because of the pandemic or anything like that, or any unnatural causes, or, you know, he didn't even, like, it wasn't a heart attack even though that's technically a natural cause, but, you know, he died peacefully in his home, and so we can definitely be thankful and take solace in that. If you're a religious person and feel like he's in a better place, then more power to you. You know, but it's a sad day for the Dolphins organization and for Dolphins fans in that regard, and so we will remember him for the greatness that he provided us and for the great man that he was, the great coach, etc., etc. You know, and it is what it is. So on that somber note, I'm going to get up out of here. I hope you guys enjoy my videos and my perspective. If you do, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.